Different biological organisms are genetically programmed for different lifespans of the species. Some of the living organisms are allotted a few minutes or hours, while nature has given others many centuries of life on this earth. But for some and for others the allotted time is a full-fledged, sometimes even happy life. In this video we will look at the long livers of the animal world, among which there are even immortal species. A jellyfish called Turritopsis Nutricula, which is considered the only immortal creature on the planet. Geneticists and biologists are actively studying this jellyfish to understand how it manages to reverse the aging process. Unlike most jellyfish, which die after participating in the reproductive cycle, this jellyfish can turn back into a young sexual individual and is able to repeat this cycle indefinitely. These creatures, which represent the class of hydrozoans, die only if they are eaten or killed. A characteristic feature of this species is that, having reached maturity, the jellyfish settles to the bottom and turns into a polyp, then almost the polyp is formed, in which future jellyfish are formed. The most interesting thing is that such metamorphoses are repeated countless times. Initially, Turritopsis nutricula jellyfish lived in the Caribbean Sea, but gradually began to expand their habitat. Now this jellyfish can be found in almost all seas of the tropical and temperate zones. The described properties of this jellyfish were first determined by Christian Salmer in 1988. He noticed that this jellyfish refused to die, starting the rejuvenation process, and subsequently the life cycle started anew. It turned out that jellyfish trigger the rejuvenation process as a result of stress or physical damage. It also became known that the jellyfish, in the process of rejuvenation, converts cells from one type to another, in approximately the same way as human stem cells do. The depths of the ocean have been studied much worse than space, and therefore there will be many more similar discoveries in the near future. For example, a shark was recently caught that is over 500 years old, and this is far from the limit. Scientists do not know exactly what values the individual lifespan of a complex multicellular animal, such as a vertebrate, can reach in principle. To find out, we must first understand how long vertebrates actually live in nature. And this is not always easy. But little by little the facts accumulate. A new interesting piece of information on this topic was recently presented to scientists by a Greenland polar shark. This is a species of shark widely distributed in the North Atlantic. This is the largest fish that constantly lives in Arctic waters. The usual size of adults is about 4–5 meters. At the same time, Greenland sharks grow quite slowly, a centimeter per year. This means that there is reason to believe that the largest of them may well be 400,500 years old or even more. In 2017, we managed to catch a shark of this species. Its size was 5.5 meters. Her age was determined using radiocarbon dating of the lens of the eye. The error of such an analysis is about 5% for several hundred years, and the analysis showed the age of the shark to be 512 years old. It was studied and released. Greenland sharks are called time capsules. Using the DNA of the captured individual, scientists are trying to understand the mechanism of their longevity and the degree of impact of human civilization on the oceans. As scientists say, determining age from the lens of the eye is almost unmistakable. The fact is that this organ has one unique property. The transparent proteins of which the lens is mainly composed of crystallines are, due to their function, contained within it and practically do not participate in metabolism. And in the center of the lens, in its so-called core, protein molecules that accumulated there even before birth can remain for life. Obviously, the age of these molecules will be equal to the age of the entire animal. The age of the shark lens core proteins was determined using the classical radiocarbon dating method, that is, by the ratio of different types of carbon atoms. This method is usually used to date, for example, archaeological samples, paintings, and, for that matter, various remains of something dug out of the ground. Meanwhile, Greenland sharks are also much larger than the caught specimen, which means their age is many times more than 512 years. What's even more interesting is that it has long been known that female Greenland sharks reach sexual maturity at a length of about 4 meters, which is about 150 years. Only then does the Greenland shark become an adult. Today, Greenland sharks are considered the longest living vertebrates in the world. Scientists say that there is nothing surprising here. With a large size and obviously low metabolic rate, slow development is quite natural, and in the icy ocean a cold-blooded animal cannot have a different metabolism. For a long time, Greenland sharks were caught industrially, but by the beginning of the 21st century their numbers had decreased and fishing was limited. Sharks are clumsy and slow-moving, which makes them easy prey for humans. But fish have no enemies among animals. Previously, until the Greenland shark was studied, bowhead whales were considered the record holders for life expectancy among mammals. The bowhead or Arctic whale can live to at least 210 years. This whale is the second heaviest whale in the world, second only to the blue whale. Female bowhead whales have an average body length of 16 to 18 meters, and males from 14 to 17 meters. The body weight of a polar whale varies from 75 to 100 tons. This life expectancy is also due to the slow metabolism in cold northern waters. Arctic whales once inhabited the oceans throughout Earth's northern hemisphere, but bowhead whale populations have declined significantly over the past 300 years. Blame it all whaling. Poachers and law-abiding killers have significantly reduced the population of this animal. In pursuit of profit, man used the power of the mind given to him by nature in order to invent tools for killing other living beings. Several centuries of whale hunting have led some species to the brink of extinction, in particular bowhead whales. Once their population amounted to hundreds of thousands of individuals, today scientists believe there are about 7,000 left. The Galapagos or elephant tortoise is another representative of long livers. It is noteworthy that only the Galapagos archipelago is home to endemic elephant tortoises and they can only be seen here. By the way, it was thanks to turtles that the islands got their name. Galapagos means turtle in Spanish. The weight of these turtles can exceed 300 kilograms, and their age is more than 170 years. Once upon a time, distant islands that had not yet been reached by humans were a paradise for turtles. But as often happens, with the advent of humans the situation began to change, and the turtle population was rapidly declining. When Spanish sailors reached these islands in 1535, they simply abounded in huge turtles. And at that time, sailors, pirates and other sea people had a special interest in living turtles because they were excellent live canned food for them, which could live in the holds of ships for up to 6 months and do without food. Then, from 1832, people began to populate these small pieces of land, and such proximity also did not benefit the turtles. Charles Darwin visited here in 1835. He took one Galapagos tortoise, which he then handed over to an English zoo. She was named Henrietta. Then her home became the Steve Irwin Zoo in Australia. In 2005, her 175th anniversary was celebrated, and in November 2006 she died of old age. By the way, this is the official version, but in fact this is only the middle of the life cycle of this species. Under natural conditions on their native islands, these turtles live much longer and have no enemies in the animal world. This is confirmed by 2 turtles from the Cairo Zoo, where a Galapagos tortoise named Samira died in 2006. Her age was estimated at 315 years. Before that, in 1992, her husband also died there, who was a little short of 400 years old. The main diet of these turtles mainly consists of plant foods, grass and shrubs. They can, without harm to health, eat poisonous plants that other inhabitants do not even touch. These giants often suffer from blood-sucking mites and, for obvious reasons, cannot get rid of them on their own. In this situation, an interesting union of turtles with small birds, the Galapagos finches, who come to the rescue. Having flown up to the turtle, the bird begins to jump in front of its face. Then the turtle begins to slowly retract its neck. The bird begins to examine the reptile's skin, pecking off ticks from it. Until the 30s of the 20th century, no measures were taken to preserve and restore the population of these animals. It was only in 1936 that the Galapagos Islands were declared a national park, which occupies almost 97.5% of the total area of the entire territory. The islands were declared a UNESCO Heritage Site in 1978 and a World Biosphere Heritage Site in 1985. In addition to jellyfish, scientists say, there are other marine organisms that can be considered immortal, for example, regenerating and non-aging sea urchins, but their properties have so far been little studied and practically not described. What is known is that hedgehogs are virtually ageless. A 100-year-old hedgehog can live the same life as a 10-year-old. It's quite simple: the larger they are, the older they are. Sea urchins never stop growing. Some of the largest reach 19 centimeters in diameter. They are 200, 300 years old, or maybe more, as scientists suggest. This raises a logical question: why aren't even larger individuals found if they are immortal? The whole point is that they are destroyed by predators, some diseases and fishermen, but even then they show no signs of age. Long-living lobsters have also seen more than one generation of sailors. The oldest and largest lobster caught weighed 9 kilograms and was approximately 140 years old. A huge lobster was caught at the end of 2008 in Canada and was given the name George. The lobster was initially sold to a local restaurant, but an animal welfare organization intervened and demanded that George be returned to his natural habitat. After 10 days, the miracle happened and George was released. Alligator Muja is believed to be the oldest alligator living in captivity, having arrived at the Serbian Zoo in 1937 as an adult male. According to experts, the age of the animal exceeds 80 years. During World War II, Belgrade suffered heavy airstrikes, resulting in the death of almost all the zoo's animals. But Muja survived. The alligator survived the difficult times and remained unharmed. Today the predator, despite its age, is in good shape and loves to feast on birds. Therefore, it can easily outlive another long-lived alligator from India, who lived 130 years. And this cute lizard Hatteria is the oldest species of reptiles, the only modern representative of the ancient order of beak-headed animals. These reptiles appeared about 200 million years ago and have remained virtually unchanged since then. The body length reaches 76 centimeters and the weight is 1.3 kilograms. Not only are these reptiles contemporaries of the dinosaurs themselves, but they also live for hundreds of years. It is known that the age of some representatives of this species reaches 200 years. It lives on several small islands in New Zealand. Due to its significance for science and its limited habitat, the Heteria is under protection. All the islands where it lives have been protected for about 100 years. All the dogs, pigs and cats were taken from there and the rodents were destroyed, as they caused serious damage to the population by destroying their eggs and young. Visiting these islands is now only possible by special invitation, and violators face imprisonment. Among fish there are also long livers, for example, koi carps. Cute fish, which are a specially bred special breed of carp, are decorative domesticated fish bred from the Amur subspecies of carp. Koi carp is considered to be a fish that has gone through 6 selective selections, after which it is assigned a certain category. Currently, there are many varieties of koi in Japan, but only 14 colored shapes and patterns are considered standard. Koi are quite expensive, and the cost of one fish can reach $100. But, in addition, they are also known for their ability to live for a very long time. The oldest koi car in history, named Ganako, died at the age of 226 years. Sea bass can also boast of good health, allowing them to overcome the age of 200 years. True, only one species of Aleutian sea bass is capable of such longevity, which is found at depths from 25 to 2,830 m. The larger the individual, the greater depths it prefers. The maximum recorded age of this fish is 205 years. In appearance, they are somewhat reminiscent of river perch, but they are so different from it in many features of the external and internal structure that they are classified not only as a different family, but also as a different order of fish. The sharp rays of the fins are equipped with poisonous glands, the injection of which causes painful local inflammation. There are about 110 species in the grouper genus, most of which live in the North Pacific Ocean, which accounts for their longevity. Sturgeons are also long-lived species, and over 100 years of age is not uncommon. Among the long-lived birds, these are macaws, one of the longest living birds, capable of reaching an age of more than 100 years. There is a known female blue macaw who gave birth in 1899 and is still living. Well, that's all for today. Thank you all for watching. If it was interesting, support the video with likes. Thank you for subscribing, and take a look at what else we have prepared for you.